want to really quickly do some live coding. In particular, I want to add a screen to this app. This is an app that's built using the Isograph framework, which is a framework for building React apps that are powered by GraphQL data. It's something I've been working on, so let's go ahead and add a screen. Right now, the app is pretty basic. It just uses a subset of the GitHub API to show a few screens. In particular, you can see a user screen. Sort of the home page is a special user screen, but it's a user screen. You can click into a repository. You can see a list of pull requests. Again, you can also click into the user here. But what you can't do is actually click into the pull request and see what issues have been raised, or the discussion, for example. So let's go ahead and add that. First, we'll go to VS Code and we'll talk about the developer experience of working with Isograph. So first, the key thing in Isograph is that everything is a resolver. So a resolver in particular just means a field that's defined on a type that is a function from some data, in this case, the data that I'm highlighting, to something opaque. In this case, it's a component. And the one thing that you'll notice is that the props that we pass in are statically typed. So that's Copilot suggesting things, but you can hover over this and you can see that it's actually that it is statically typed. So this header component is annotated with @component, which just sort of means that it gets passed some props, and when it's read out, you end up calling it as a function and interpolating it. So let's take a look at the web app here. If we open, you can ignore those console logs. I'm being pretty generous with the logging right now. If you load the components tab, I think sometimes, okay, it loaded it, cool, that's nice. And then we scroll down to, I guess we can just filter by @component. Okay, so this @component here, header @component, that is exactly what you're looking at, and it's this thing. If we take a look at this avatar @component, that is that guy right there, repository detail, and so on. Okay, so let's take a look at where avatar or where header is used. So header here, let's look for header with an open parentheses because we know we're going to call it. So on the home page, we select header off the query object, and we call it and interpolate it in a React component. It takes some runtime parameters, a route and set route. That's completely untyped right now, but I'll fill that in. Okay, and then it ends up, showing up as a component on the screen. Okay, so let's talk about what we actually want to do. We want to add the pull request screen. So if we go to GitHub demo, which is sort of the root of this app, one thing you'll notice is that there's this type here, type route, which contains all the possible routes that we have. So let's start by adding it here. I'm not really doing anything framework related right now, but we'll get there pretty quickly. So let's add this type, export type, pull request route equals kind pull request, and then the next thing we want to do is look at the schema, the GitHub schema, and we look for where we get a pull request. So in this case, it takes a number and it is on a it's on a repository. Sorry, it took me a while to scroll up. So what we want to do in order to be able to do this is to have like some repository information. So we'll just call it repository. We'll take repository route here, and then we have pull request number is going to be a number, and that should be enough to navigate and fetch a pull request. Navigate to and fetch a pull request. Okay, so nice. We have this exhaustiveness check here that no longer passes, although there are plenty of TypeScript errors in this code base, so I wouldn't necessarily have caught that. And here we will render a pull request route, pass it a route equals route, set route equals set route, and then fill that in. Okay, so now here let's add I think our convention here is just calling it pull request. Okay, so let's go to So if we go to user.tsx, what we're going to see is that we have a user route. This guy fetches some data, and then it returns the header and wraps sort of the detail, or like the content of that route, in some suspense in a container. It's pretty formulaic. So I'm going to go ahead and actually manually retype everything instead of copying and pasting, which is what I have done so far. So first thing to do is import React from React, import bdeclare from bulletin/React, which is the previous name of Isograph. Okay, so now we want to do bdeclare. So in this case, we can say query.pullRequest. It's going to need some parameters, but we don't really care right now. And it's @fetchable, which just means like generate a query text and stuff like that. And for now, we'll just select the header. It's formatting. There's no auto formatting. Again, all this stuff I want to add. So we'll call it pull request route, and then that's actually not that bad of a fake component. Okay, here in GitHub demo, let's go ahead and add import from pull request. Okay, cool. I don't really care if that fails to type check. I guess I'll do that. Cool. Now the next thing we want is to create a link. We'll fill this in later. We'll fill in we'll create a link to a pull request. So we want to do this, new file, pull request link.tsx. Again, we'll grab grab React and bdeclare, and then we'll grab link, I believe, from material UI, and then we want to export. In this case, since we need to export this with the name of the field, because it's not being fetched at the top level, it's being fetched through the graph, and it has an associated JavaScript function. Okay, so in this case we'll call it pull request link equals bdeclare. We'll add some types to it later. For now it's sort of a two-step process. Okay, so it's going to be on pull request dot I don't know, I'll call it pull request link because this is consistent with what I've been doing on other in other files. Okay, so here we want to get the okay. We're going to need some fields off of a pull request. So let's see, type pull request. And what do we need? We need a number. I mean, that's all we actually need right now. Okay, so pull request, and then we'll function say pull request link. Function pull request link. Okay, so at this point in time, what we can do is try to run the compiler, which is just running a generated Rust binary, but we'll have to make that more convenient. So this binary, I mean, it takes the location of the schema, and it takes a project root, and it scans the project root for these bdeclare literals, and for each one does a bunch of validation, and it generates a generated file. So let's take a look at this pull request link generated file. It's not on that, it's pull request link. Okay, so first thing you'll notice is it has a reader AST, which is to say it's a data structure that's used to read the data out from the store. And it has a generate artifact, and it has a bunch of types. If you were to look at the generated file for an @fetchable resolver, that would also have the query text, and eventually will also have a normalization AST. Okay, so here we can add some types. In the future, these types will be inferred. So we want to import pull request, resolver parameter type, yes, from pull request link. Hopefully that one, yeah. So I realized that I should probably name these fields in the actual file, because that was pretty hard to find what I need. Anyway, that's something I need to fix. As pull request params, I don't know, we'll call them pull request props. Pull request props, and return type of pull request link, and then here pull request link takes props, pull request props. Okay, so this guy, let's actually take a look at user link real quick. Yes, it is a link. Cool. So I actually don't really care, let's say, about the React for the purposes of this demo. So let's go ahead and copy that and paste it in. So props here is, I mean, the data field is strongly typed, but the everything else is untyped. That's for now. We'll fix that. So and that's why we're getting, you know, red squigglies on set route. Oh, excuse me. That's actually not why we're getting red squigglies. We're getting red squigglies because we didn't annotate it with that component. So right now we're getting props.number, right? But we really wanted to get props.data.number. So now if we look at props.data.number. So anyway, so the at component just changes the shape of the props that are passed in and changes how it's read out. Okay, so here we want set route kind is pull request. And what? Let's just go ahead and save this real quick and see if it doesn't fail to type check. It should eventually. Oh well. Okay, so I think I'm gonna pull request number. Let's see what we got here. Okay, pull request number and repository. Okay, so let's see, pull request number, props.data.number, and repository. Well, I mean, let me see if this is possible in the schema. Yeah, I was just at pull request. Okay, so pull request. Has a repository. Okay, so we can either, I mean, we can just fetch the repository here. We also could consider passing in the repository route and not fetching these if we already know the repository. Frankly, I don't particularly care for this demo. Which of the two you use, it's sort of a, but either is possible. Okay. So now if we take a look at the schema again, so we want to go to type repository. So actually, sorry, we want to go to type query. This is how we're going to actually fetch the pull request. We're going to grab the repository with a name and owner, and then from that repository, we're going to get the pull request by from that repository, we're going to get the pull request by number. Here it is. Okay. So what do we say we needed from this? We need the repository with the name and owner. Name owner. Is that going to compile? Let's see if that compiles. No, it does not. One thing I need to do is fix the printing of error messages. Right now it just kind of prints out the enum. So let's see, selection field is not scalar. Okay, so owner is not a scalar. So owner is a string. Wait, what? Okay, let me actually read this more closely. Okay. Field type is an object. Owner is, oh, owner is a string as a parameter. Sorry, that's my bad. And then, oh, owner is a user. Yeah, or something like that, or actor. is a repository owner. And repository owner, oh, cool, has a bunch of repositories. Can return a connection, has a URL, has a login. So what do we actually need? The owner's login field. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, so we need the login. Login and the name of the repository. Okay, cool. So we have that from the repository. So this is a little bit unfortunate that if we're starting with a repository and showing a list of pull requests, then we're fetching the repository again. But it's okay. In a differently designed schema, we might sort of avoid this, or we might avoid it if it becomes a performance problem. But for now, we'll just roll with it. Okay, so this guy. So let's go ahead and change that pull request. Pull request kind. The reason is because I just sort of assumed going into this that you're always going to start with a pull request and then start with a repository and then navigate to a pull request. But like, eventually maybe we're going to add integration with the URL, and you want to be able to refresh and immediately land on a pull request page. So we'll just do it like this. Repository owner string. Okay, I'll say login. Okay, cool. So now this pull request link here. Got number, name, and login. Okay, so now we say repository name props dot data dot repository dot name. Thank you. Oh, notice that there was the error, and then it sort of went away when we reran the compilers because it regenerated the types. And then we have repository owner. Cool. Thank you. Okay, so quick aside. When this field is read, since it's an act component, this field is read during render. And if any of these fields are not available during render, we suspend. We don't have a very sophisticated thing. We just sort of suspend until the store changes one more time. But the point is, we basically are guaranteed at this point in time that the fields are all there. Okay. So, yeah, cool. So we now have this children prop that we have to be aware of. And otherwise, I believe that's everything. Okay, so now let's take a look at, I think we have a pull request table. Cool. So this pull request table here is on a pull request connection. It's named pull request table. It's a component, and pull request connection has edges as a node, and this is the pull request here. So here we can select pull request link, and we don't really care about this log. Okay, and then how about the title? We'll replace that with a props. No, not the title, sorry, that doesn't make sense. How about the title here? Ooh, the number. That's sort of a good place to put it. Okay, so we'll say props, we'll say node dot, actually let's run the compiler, so some help. Node dot pull request link, and that takes a hash of additional props. Oh, what did I just do? Yeah. Okay. And then we're just going to say, children is node.number. Okay, so quick explanation what's going on here. Pull request link, it returns an element. That element is it renders a stable component, if that makes any sense. So if we go to pull request link here and do something like const foo equals, should I say const state, set state is react.use state, and then we'll say null to say false. And then right next to the children we'll say state true, and on click, we'll kind of comment this guy out, and then we'll call set state, not state. Cool. Because what we're rendering is a stable reference, state will continue to work. So we'll go ahead and demonstrate that real quick. So pull request link here, and let's go ahead and run this. Okay, so here comes the fun part. Let's see if it is broken in some weird way. It sometimes does. So we wanted to go from on something that has pull requests. So relay has pull requests, and we can click on this false, shows true, true, false, cool. That's nice. Being able to use context and state and stuff like that means that these are fully powered components, and you don't really have to worry about they work as components. Okay, so now let's change this back to a link. Okay, so we don't need the state, and get rid of this. We can uncomment this guy. Okay, so this is going to take us to the pull request page, and then we don't need this guy anymore. Yeah, cool. And then let's go ahead and refresh here. Did I change anything? I did not. Okay, cool. So one thing we can do. Oh, props.setRoute is not a function. That's true. All right, and it's caught some weird loop. Let's go ahead and fix that. So pull request table, setRoute. You have gotten props.setRoute. Basically, everybody here gets setRoute. Actually, let me see if pull request table actually does get setRoute. So let's just skip a step if this. Okay. Yeah, we pass it down. That's cool. Alright, so here actually let's go ahead and go to the GitHub demo page. The default page is home, but we can do kind, let's say repository name is relay, and repository owner is Facebook, and repository ID here is not really used. We need it. The reason is not super important or enlightening. Okay, so we do this. Okay, so now if we just refresh here. Sorry, what? We're starting on the repository page, but we're ending up on the pull request thing. Okay, so repository route. Huh? What am I doing? Okay, so route here is kind this pull request. Yeah, I'll bet you this pull request link is, yep, it's calling it directly. Alright. Cool, so here we are. Well, I mean, that gives us hope that when I click on this, I will get to the pull request page. Would you know? Look at that, it did. Okay, cool. Getting close to what we actually set out to accomplish is to do the pull request page. Okay, so here instead of pull request, so pull request route, let's just say user route user.tsx. Okay, so we don't really care too much about the React. Actually, kind of do here. Okay, so on here, what we're going to do is first thing we're going to do is we're going to import query __ pull request. But we're going to call it, say, query pull request. Yeah, okay, so we want the default export here. This guy is fetchable, so this default export here pretty much importantly has this query text, which is, right now it just contains, a few things on viewer. And that means that if we get from React, use lazy reference and read, what we can do is const query reference. Yes, this is actually correct right here, and it takes the pull request to the query pull request. Yeah. I mean, why don't we call it pull request query? That kind of sounds more logical here. even though query is the parent object. Okay, and then it takes variables. Right now we haven't defined any variables. Variables are pretty much completely untyped right now, but that's chill. We'll fix that. So then we want to read out this data. Okay, so query reference here. If we go to the type definition, it's called a fragment reference. There's sort of no difference in Isograph between the two concepts. It is this guy, and it contains all the information you need to read this fragment out from the store. So most importantly, it takes a reader AST, and if we look at query underscore pull request, find the reader AST. This is for fetching. This is for reading. It just knows that there's something called header, and that guy is statically linked to the query underscore header artifact here. So that's how we know how to read out the header. And this guy, query header, of course, ultimately is this, which this whole thing is a pass. This bdeclare is a pass through. So it is essentially, it is header, the function. Okay. So one of the things we want to do over time is, all of those links were static, so that means that the root of our page includes all the JavaScript for everything nested. When I add support for defer, I want to be able to defer both the data for a resolver and also the JavaScript for that resolver. Anyway, we have some like flexibility with how to play around with that. Okay. So pull request here, query reference is a fragment reference with some types associated with it, and then when we read out the data, those types, in this case resolver parameter type, it's a name type. Kind of annoying, I wish it would like sort of display what you needed, but like it's statically typed, so data.header, and then if we go to the type definition for header, it is, it's a function that takes additional runtime props and returns an element. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back here, and we'll say return. Again, we want to wrap everything in these guys. Header, and that takes additional props. I mean, does it take any props? I don't even remember. Yep, doesn't take props. Okay, cool. So now if we go to pull request route, let's see. Cannot read. What am I not doing correctly? Maybe I didn't compile. Always the first thing I check. Nope, that's not it. Okay. So what is going on? So by no means is it a perfect developer experience yet. Okay, so done reading but not evaluating. We found success. Okay, kind. Yeah. Okay, what you doing? What you doing wrong? Query.pull request. Let's see if we get rid of header. I think I'm allowed to have. Actually, let me. Okay, so let's just start by adding some logs here. Should just do debugger. Okay, so what do we want? We want route. Route is not defined. That'll do. Set route is not defined. Well, that actually probably doesn't do anything. Let's see what pull request query is, make sure that's defined. Wait, what? Are you going to rename them somehow weirdly? Okay, so we've gotten here. So query reference, it exists. We take a look at the reader AST, it's a header. Yeah. Okay, so we know that the header, okay. Alright, let's see if this is where it breaks. Nope, it does not. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so header here, add component, I don't know why you're going to fail, but okay. Pull pull request query is not defined. Okay, well that's like I should just read. Are you not defined? Okay, so we go here. Read properties of undefined. Okay. Reading kind and header. Oh, because we're not passing a route to the buttons, and that means that we're not passing it to the header. Really? So other places are... Wait, what? Oh, I see. Okay. So user profile header doesn't take props, and the header that doesn't take props that I was looking at in the search is the one I had just written. So it does in fact take props. Again, add static types to things. It avoids headache. So eventually the additional props that are passed to at components will be should be, you know, sort of not completely untyped. We'll figure something out for there. Okay, so we'll go here. Cool. Does the pull request page have anything? No, it does not. It just has the header. All right, that's awesome. Okay, so now what we want to do is let's go ahead and define, get to the thing that we wanted to do, which is pull request detail. Okay, so let's, we're going to do React, we're going to import bdeclare from bulletin/React, we're going to export const pull request detail equals some bdeclare, and then we're going to say, so this guy is on query, so query.pull request detail, and it's an at component, and it's going to take, so from query we have this repository, takes an owner and a name. Is that right? I don't know. I don't trust you. It seems like a plausible guess for Copilot, but let's see. Name and owner. Oh, what was it even saying? Yeah. Okay. Good job. Good job. And then we'll give it an ID. Okay. So this guy now needs to take some parameters. So we're going to define some repository owner. I'm going to say it's a string. I'm going to say repository name. It's a string. So I would like some LSP support with this, and eventually there should be a really good LSP to help you with Isograph, but it's not there. Okay, so repository here takes, it has a pull request. Pull request, oh, number 37. I don't know what that means. Pull request number, and okay, and just right now I manually add ID everywhere. There are no normalization ASTs, so like the presence of the ID forces it to go into a specific location. I am pretty sure this would work just fine without it. I mean, considering this backing data isn't really changing. But anyway, eventually we'll auto-select that ID via the compiler. Okay, so we have pull request here. Let's see what's on pull request. Author, I mean, let me just see if there's a title. Yeah, pull request title. That's pretty much what I care about. And we'll say we'll call this pull request detail function pull request detail. Okay, so now we run the compiler. Oh, something's wrong. Expect a comma found in closing parentheses right before repository or something like that. Oh yeah, because we need a comma after this guy, and we need a comma after this guy. So it's something that's somewhat unsightly and that I need to fix. Okay, expected a comma for ID here. Oh yeah, okay, there's another one here. Oh, you know, there we go, now it compiled. Okay, so pull request detail here. Okay, so now we can add some types. Import resolver parameter type from, and we're going to say query pull request. Query pull request. Kind of nice that it does all that for me. And then as pull request details props. Pull request details props, and then we want to give a return type of pull request detail, yeah. Okay, so one thing that's not checked at all is right now is that the export matches, the export name here matches the field name. It has to. The compiler doesn't understand JavaScript, so everything that's outside of this be declare literal has to sort of be extremely formulaic. Eventually I want to add a like a lint rule that enforces that for you. For now it's not there. Okay. Pull request detail here. Yeah, okay, cool. Props, and then we'll give it some pull request detail props. Okay. Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Props.repository. Props.data.repository. Again, that's kind of nice that the what? A resolver parameter type. What do you have on props? Yeah, okay, we're supposed to be playing query detail. Anyway, not okay. So let's see. What are you complaining about? Repository is possibly null. That is fair. We're just kind of ignore that for now. Cool, thank you. And then we're going to here. I'm just going to go directly from the repository. Okay, nope, we're going to do pull request. So, yeah, cool, that's nice. So eventually what I want to do is add, I mean, the syntax currently supports these exclamation points here. So right now what I want to do is have you pass an exclamation point. This guy, if it was null, it would now not be ever null, and instead the parent guy, parent field, this repository now is nullable, and then we bubble that up with an additional exclamation point, and then this guy here, so either we check that the sort of whole thing is null or not if we want to, or here we, you know, pass exclamation point here and sort of bubble that up further. Syntax a bit up in the air, but like that's the general idea. Okay, cool. So now we have pull request title. And let's change these divs to whatever those anonymous things are called. I don't think I needed to run that. Let's check again what's going on. Well, I think we're not, on the pull request page, we're not rendering anything. Oopsie, so here we're going to do data.pull request detail, and then of course it also just takes route and set route, and we're going to say pull request detail. Yeah, that's correct. And then pull request detail. Oh, you know, I added these parameters here, but that's pretty much a no-op there. Eventually, you will have to pass parameters down like that, but right now they're just sort of only accepted on the fetchable. I mean, they're only used if it's defined on the fetchable thing, because they're just like this untyped grab bag. That's chill. Okay, so what we want to add is the props, which is owner, name, number. Okay, so pull request owner. Yeah, there we go. Oh, sorry, pull request number, repository name, and come on, repository owner. Thank you. That seems to have type checked, so we run this again, and then let's see, this guy will. Are you going to type check? You're going to type check eventually. Yep, type checked. Cool. Now let's refresh here. So you have to manually refresh right now because the way we get a stable reference is, let me see if I can, jump to the definition, is this guy right here. We just have this global map of called ref readers, where the key is sort of like query underscore underscore header or something, I think. And the function, the component is only defined once. It's given a nice display name, which is why you see the at components. But that means that your function, your resolver function, it always gets updated data. It can't have that updated data be injected in without it not being a stable reference. But like this component is a stable reference because it's only sort of created once. It's only sort of defined once. And it also has this, sort of nice thing where we can, add some display names to it. Okay. Let's take a look at what we're doing. Cannot read properties of undefined. Undefined, that is a network error. Again, we should be better about this, I guess. I just happen to know that that's the symptom of an error. Okay, errors. Yeah, variable not defined, pull request number. Okay, why not? You're right, I didn't define it here. Pull request number is, what do we call it? Is an int maybe? Let's read. Yeah. Okay, need a comma. Cool. We'll do this. We'll go here. Oh, yeah. Okay. That worked. Let me just click on one more. Yeah. Isn't that great? Okay. So now let's take a look at what we can add to the pull request page. By taking a look at the schema. Okay, so we have an author, we need that. It's the name of the author, really. So actor is an interface in this fake version of the schema. I call it a type, so an object, because we don't parse interfaces yet or to really support them, but that's okay. So type pull request here. Okay, so we want the author, so we get the login from there. And then we want comments. Okay. That's pretty much the big thing we want is comments. Okay, so let's add the author. Oh, actually we want the body. Oh, that's pretty cool, body HTML. Let's try that. Okay, so pull request detail. Okay. This guy, body, do we call it body HTML? Yeah, body HTML. Okay, what is this? Inner unsafe HTML. Dangerously set unsafe HTML. What do I do? Okay, so just this guy, div. Alright, so this guy is going to be pull request dot body HTML. Let's run this guy. Let's try this. Cargo watch. Help. Shell. Okay, so I want cargo watch dash s, and then we're gonna run this compiler command, and then what we're gonna watch is /source / bulletin. Oh, okay, but it's gonna run twice because oh, I can ignore. Cool, that's great. Okay, so source, bulletin components, bulletin, again, bulletin being the old name of this project. And let's try it. Couldn't canonicalize. You know, I recognize that error from the compiler, but I will just go ahead and continue to run it manually. cool. All right. That was fun. Didn't work. Let's try. What? Okay. Again, lack of back button integration, kind of annoying. Let's see, normalize separators. Yes, nice. Okay, okay. We need a little bit of, oh, okay, well there's no container here. That's making me, constraining my width. Okay, so what do we do? Did I not put a container on that pull request page? Yeah, I didn't. Okay, so home.tsx does this guy. Let's do the same thing here. Alright, then we want to import full page loading, and we want to import container. I don't know why you don't know how to do that. Yeah, thank you. Okay, okay, I don't care about you anymore. Okay, I don't care about you anymore. Here we are, we have some dangerously set HTML. Oh, it even shows, okay, oh my goodness. How cool is that? Let's take off the thing that prevents me from showing videos. How cool is that? All right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. This is great. Okay. So you could put that in a box or something like that. This isn't really about using Material UI well or building things well. It's more about the information architecture. So we'll just leave that. We'll leave that there. Okay. Okay, so pull request title. Okay, so now let's say H2, we'll just say discussion, and then right now we only have issues. Issues are only exposed on pull requests in our little mini schema. But let's go ahead and, yeah, okay, whatever. We'll call this like a issue list. Wait, discussion list? What did we call it? Comment list. List of comments associated with the pull request. Is there something called issues here? There's not. So I don't know what an issue is. Okay, cool. So comment list. We'll call it comment list, and we'll say comments. Yeah, so pull request dot comment list, and we'll pass it. You know, route and set route. That's a pretty good guess of what we're gonna need. I doubt we'll need route though. I don't know. Who cares? Okay, so this guy we gotta define a new file. Okay, import React. Okay, so we've done this a few times, so let's go ahead and do this. And then just go ahead and, yeah, actually we'll just get all of this guy. Let's just get everything here and just modify what we needed to modify. So in this case, I'm going to find pull request. And what are we calling you? Comment list. Okay. Yeah, cool, cool. Alright, so no more pull request here. And then we're going to change the type here, which is going to be pull request, I believe. Another reasonable thing to do here would be to make this on the comment connection. But we're not doing that because who cares? But totally reasonable thing to do. Alright, comments. I'm going to just do last, and we'll call it $last. Then it's going to have nodes. No, it's going to have edges. Trying to trick me. And then node, and that's going to have an ID field. Okay, none of these other guys have IDs, so we don't really care about this. I guess the pull request does, so we should select ID there. Doesn't really matter though. Okay, so then we're going to rename pull request detail to comment list, and then we export comment list. That's cool. As pull request detail props, we're going to rename you comment list props, and then we're going to run the compiler. Nice. And you suddenly get props. You get props. Nice. Let's remove you and let's see what the props have. Props.data.comments. Nice. Okay. So we want to reverse the comments. Why are you? It's not an array type. Okay. Comments is nullable? What? Shouldn't be. Oh yeah, but its edges is the actual array type. Okay, cool. Just because the GitHub API fetches or returns from oldest to newest, so we're just reversing it here. So that means on every render we're doing this. That's not ideal. In a future version of this, we of course need to cache as many intermediate results as we can. Okay. What we can do though is call use memo and stuff like that. There. Exercise left for the reader. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to return comments dot map. No, we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is find table. I'm going to find you here, pull request table, because we basically want a table. Okay, and then, yeah, I mean, I'll just copy the whole thing. And then we're going to comment list here. I'll comment everything, I'll copy everything, and I'll paste it. And here, we're going to grab these guys. Alright, so what do we want on this? It's not actually what we want. We did want a table. Okay. Oops. Okay, so what we want is something like comments.map. Duplicate identifier comment. Let's call it comment node. Okay. So comments is nullable? It's kind of annoying. I guess that the schema should be dictating that. Comment connection. Yeah, probably an issue comment connection. And issue comment edge has a node which is an issue comment, which is nullable. Okay, that's fair. Okay, so we have what the heck can we get on okay, so we have the author, we have body HTML. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is beautiful. Let's go ahead and immediately go back on what I said and get this paper component maybe, or box component. Card? What's the card look like? I don't know. That seems like a good thing to have a comment in. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so let's import the card here. yeah, yep. Okay, variant equals, sounds nice, outlined. Okay, so comments dot body text. And we want to select body text here. Interesting, it doesn't say. Okay. And then we probably, we want like a card header, right? Let's see. This looks interesting. Okay. So we have card media. I don't want that. I want card content. Typography. I don't know. This actually looks really pretty. Yeah, whatever. I don't really care. Let's give this a card content. Let's import card content. Okay, rerun the compiler. Let's give you a try. What happened? Did we not pass a variable? Yes, last is not defined. That is fair. So on the pull request page, again, I need to add types to this to sort of enforce this. Last is an int, okay, and then here we're going to fetch, I don't know, maybe just the last 100 comments. I mean, whatever, just the last 20. Pagination is not a thing that's really supported at the moment in the framework. It can be done in userland pretty easily. Like the correct low-level primitives are exposed. Yeah, that'll be done in the future. Okay, so now we have last. Here we refresh. Route is not defined. Where am I not passing route? Pull request on comment list. And you don't need. And okay, I'm just say route. Props dot route. Props dot set route. Thank you. And why is comment list? Okay, yeah, snaky case. Okay. Wow, it shows. That's cool. I'm gonna go ahead and add a card around here. And what do we say about the card? We had like a variant equals outline, and then let's see if this works. Yeah, it's not perfect. Okay, overflows to the right. It's all good. Still, that's awesome. Okay. For each comment, maybe we'll add a date. Oh, so we need the editor. Just created at what did I don't know what the correct one is. Okay, so we can do, I don't know, created at. But created at is going to be some opaque text. I mean, it's going to be something we have to pass the new date and format. So there's a date type that we have somewhere here. something formatted, I think. I think I did that. Maybe maybe I got rid of those changes. Cool. If I got rid of them, we can do it. All right, formatted comment creation date. What's cool about this is we can do this in the same file. Formatted comment creation date, just be declare. So first thing we'll notice here is actually different. Is nope, it's on issue comment, I believe. Format is it's at eager. So instead of at component, so at eager just means it's unmasked. So this guy, this comment list guy, will just directly receive the formatted value. It doesn't have to do anything to sort of unwrap it, and there's no attempts to do data masking. So this is exactly what I wanted to write here, which makes me think that it does exist somewhere. Oh, it does. It's just not in its own file, which is exactly what we are doing right now. Okay, so to locale date string, let's find that. Pull request table. Okay, this is exactly the same thing. It would be nice if both parent types implemented a common interface. But in order to make this possible, like to define this on an interface or something, but just we don't even really need that. The compiler can check everything and just turn it into selections on pull request and selections on issue comment. That's probably the direction that I want to take that specific, to take that, just to like allow you to define resolvers that, as long as the parent fields that you select have exactly the types that you want, so maybe there's just one parent field for simplicity, has exactly the type that you want, you can select it on any type that matches, sort of like structural interfaces. Cool. Okay. Comment list here. Yeah, props.created is not typed. The thing about not typing is that I'm 100% gonna mess it up, but we'll see. Okay, no, didn't mess up, so that's nice. Okay, did we select it? Yeah, okay. Oh, it thinks it's a component. That's not bad. But it's not a component, so I just want to directly interpolate it. Formatted comment creation date, is that what it's called? Yeah, and if you're not there, it's because I didn't run the compiler. I mean, it should have type unknown, which it should complain about. Yeah, unknown is not assignable to type React node. That's cool. That is true. So what we can do here is basically only need to add a specific type, which is what are we doing? Is formatted something, issue comment formatted as issue comment props. Yeah, and I'm going to say it's a string. Cool. Now down here, this guy visible as a string. Okay. I don't know if I need to rerun that. I don't think I need any changes. Okay. So now, I mean, let's take a look at a different one. Comment count. This guy. Well, let's find one with more comments. 3 is the most we got. Okay. Yeah. Dates. That's cool. Let's make them a little bit smaller. And going to say comment.author.login commented on. Okay, and here we're going to say author. Come on, login link all. Facebook, yeah. Cool. So, I don't really have any good other things. I can take a look at some. I'm sorry, Jordan. I'm creeping on your stuff. Anyway, I mean, that's the field I wanted to create. That's the screen I wanted to create, right? Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, that's how I want. I just want to make this. I want to make this screen. Hopefully, it gives you a sense of the current developer experience of using Isograph. And yeah, expect to hear more about it going forward. Take care.